So welcome to Beyond the Body, and yeah, this is day 7, and day 7 is like, wow, that's a full circle already. That's the first week, you could say, and well, whatever that means to you, it can be that. Wait, so I let somebody in again. And what happens here is an incredible healing opportunity. You might have recognized that already in how you experience this. And like there's an intensifying part of it that is so helpful and so incredible. Now, this is spontaneous. These occurrences are spontaneous. And when I say that, I actually mean it like this. It's like when you become open to this present moment, when you become open, things start to happen that you didn't expect to happen. Like it is some normal human activity would take place, and then suddenly you find yourself in an experience that is not of this world for sure. So that is to give you an example, like this happened to me. Just after the meeting a moment ago, I got introduced to two children, you could say, 2 children. And the thing that happened is that I actually experienced that I was literally taken home by them. Like, wow, I cannot believe what is happening here. It's like, well, this just seems like an introduction to, like, hello, I am me, and hi, you are you. Great. No, not at all. It's like to see, in fact, what is in front of you and to connect with it completely, not having any rejection to it, but completely letting you be taken by it. You start to recognize in everyone your best friend. And what does your best friend do? He literally takes you home. So this is like, that is not what you would expect that would happen. But just because you didn't define the moment, but let it be free, and let it be free, and let it open up, and stay with yourself, and open your consciousness. Suddenly there's you being taken home. That is the occurrence. I gotta see what chat is coming in, because I got a message here. All right, good. That's great. Yeah, it was already on the list. So the invitation was today to bring in, like to hand over your deepest frustration. So you hand it over. You share it, but with the intent to let it be. Now this is also something, like if you would just look at it in a normal, what you call normal, in a human way, you would say like, well, it doesn't make any sense to just share your frustrations and then hopefully it will turn to better. It's like, come on, let's be real, let's be reasonable here. That's not going to work. And then, see, that's the same idea. So if that is not going to work, then it's not going to work. But here's the thing. We're counting on the miracle here. We're literally letting the miracle bring us home. Any situation brought to truth, you could say, brings you home, because that's where you belong. It's not like an occurrence as exclusive as you might think. Like, no. Everything properly seen brings you home, because that's where you belong. See, that's totally reasonable. That's totally reasonable. Now, you definitely don't want to miss out on that. So this is so great. So you meet someone. You meet these 2 innocent children, you could say. You meet those 2 sweet guys. What happens? You don't meet 2 sweet guys. No, you suddenly are in the middle of a gathering, of being brought home. It's a sacred place you enter. Suddenly there's this sacred place you enter. and you're literally taken home. Just by you letting this experience, like by you letting this situation be whole, not having any kind of expectations, not having any intentions, not having anything, but the experience will take you out of this construct that you found yourself in a moment ago. That's a miracle. That's truly a miracle. That's what's happening here. It's like we come together to remember that, because we forget. We really think that we're doing something. We really think that with our intentions we're actually contributing to something. We think a lot of things, and basically all within our definitions of ourselves. We have an idea about ourselves that we defend with our lives, literally. And it's a lost deal. It's not going to work, and we learn to admit that, but not just like that. We're not just admitting it. No, there's something real possible, and that is what is possible is that you have a possibility of being brought to a place where you truly belong, where you feel at home immediately in a way that is ecstatic and that is whole and that is joyous and that is for you, because it is you. Literally, it happens in you. Now that is so great. So this is the offering. This is the offering that we do today too. It's like we scheduled a healing circle, and this came out of time too. Like it came out of time to do it like that today. Otherwise, why would I do that? I have no intention of doing that. So that's why it can be successful, because it was successful. It is going to bring you home. Now, just don't define it. Don't have any expectation. Don't, like this, what I just shared. It's like, just stop doing that. And everything is going to bring you home. And you wait for that. You take time to relax, to wait patiently in high expectancy, but not expecting anything at the same time. Waiting for it to happen, being completely open for a new experience of yourself. That is really what is given. That is the offering here in Beyond the Body. It's a shift out of your body awareness into spirit awareness. It is your spiritual practice. So that is just totally lovely. Now, I invited So what happens here is, when I say I invited a dear friend, that is happening right now. He's literally here. We're going to listen to Master Teacher. It's like it's always good to have a teacher around, to have somebody around that you can count on. Just as a reminder. As a reminder, it's great. It's like he's right here. So he's with us in this, and with no other than to remind you of your whole presence, because that's what's given, that's what's happening. Literally, that's happening right now. So this is part one that we're going to listen to. Part one of the fear for healing, the fear of healing in chapter 27. So I thought it was so great to continue with that same theme, in fact, because what is the fear of healing? But in fact, just needing a little help here to make that step, and recognizing that I can't do it. I don't know. I'm not sure if I trust it. I'm not this. I'm not that. Or, well, let me know how to bring this about. I don't know what to do. So here is Master Teacher. We'll listen to the first, say, 10 minutes of a talk that he did basically an introduction to the part of the text in chapter 27. He only gives the introduction, so he doesn't directly use the words or reads or anything, but he's expressing it.
There's a step that you are taking now in the association of the hardware and the software, or the determination that the body and the spirit are finally the same thing, okay? They must be, because everything is the same stuff. We are as God created us, and no matter what we do, we will be included into that, and that can be very valuable to you. We're together here in this purpose of the admission of this teaching in this Blue and Gold book from a whole mind Jesus Christ identified in time, out of time, directing us to the certainty of the continuing transformation of our individual minds from the chaos, sickness, and death of our previous perceptual identity, our historic reference of time, to the positiveness that we are as God created us, holy and perfect in that sight. That involves, as we have said previously, the admission of the necessity for a perceptual transformation that we must undergo, since obviously the solution is apparently not here by the definitions of ourselves. That's a very large step. That step is the admission of the possibility of evolution, or that in time you can reach a broader or more expansive state of association in mind with yourself, okay? Now, the Course in Miracles from Out of Time says, not only can you do that and will you do that, because you've identified the possibility of doing it, okay, but that since you can identify the possibility of becoming as God created you, you must in fact be that. Yeah. And that the manner in which you attempt to identify yourself coming to that truth is what is holding you in the bondage of yourself in your own association. That your sickness is only self-identity. Okay. Now, for those who are teaching the Course in Miracles and would like to look at the certainty that this is all that this says, okay, hopefully you'll now be able to do it. Because all it really says is that perceptual association is what sickness and death is. Not the measurement of the degrees of that association. Right. Do you see? And that at no time, okay, is this earth constructed in an apparent objective reality real in any regard. And this is where you always test your associations with yourself. Now, the manner in which the Course does this is very simple. And this is the workbook, but let's once more now, Course teachers, please. It demands your attention to the certainty that where you are in this association with yourself is already gone. And that all the things that you have brought into this in your own dream are a part of a memory that you have about this. That you are all what? That you are all only memory. All right? Okay. Remember that we started with the premise that the universe is mind. Now, for some associations in objective reality, that's very difficult. To understand that no matter what it is, if it's a blazing star in the universe, okay, if it's the lowest depth of apparent hell, if it's a great expansion, if it's an association of any kind, finally it's nothing but mind. Okay, everybody got a feel for this? You can divide it up in all sorts of ways, but it will only be, and I'll include the word consciousness here. It doesn't matter what the consciousness is. It doesn't, Jesus says in the Course, it doesn't matter what mind thinks. You only need admit that mind thinks. And that will bring you then into this association. Okay. But since all of your associations in your own memory patterns are always past, the mind that you bring into this present is really not thinking at all, because all of its associations are already gone, aren't they? Yes. So it's really not thinking. It's not whether it's good or bad, as we said, or whether it's right or wrong. It's simply that at that moment it is not real. No. how can we utilize the miracle? Okay, now we're going to talk what a miracle is, to bring about wholeness and love and certainty that we are as God created us. The answer is very simple. Each moment in time that we do not give ourselves our previous memory identity in our own cellular relationships, God creating is all around us, because God creating is all around us, isn't it? And this is what we read in the previous lesson. Okay? And that's really working all the time, isn't it? Each time I don't hold on to that memory, I am whole. Now, I may then take a hold of another memory and hold myself in association, but somewhere in time, since time is only me, I have become perfect and am in heaven. And this is really all that the teaching is. So the practice then becomes, don't enter into previous body associations that you have brought with you into this sequential time association to keep your own reality. For if you do, you will condemn the creations of your mind to the sickness and death that you are identifying yourself as. Does everybody see that? Huh? How would you not? That's what you're doing here. It then becomes what? A dream of death from which there is no escape. Because all of the associations of your own memory mind, okay, are a part of what you think you are presently, and of course none of it is real. Okay. I'll give you some sentences so you can see what the miracle teachers really don't want to look at. All of your intentions are to death.
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand? You cannot intend to go to God without being with God. And is there a question on this from anyone? Okay. You say, I intend to go to God. I say, you are there. Okay. How could you not be? This is how you advanced teachers will tell whether an association is actually teaching from a whole mind or teaching from his own perspective of falseness. Do you see this? Huh? He will make if he doesn't make declarations of association, but simply says to you, none of this is so, including this message. Okay? He has made a lot of progress in his own association. He will never accord the perceptual mind any choice at all. None. That will allow the perceptual association to change in that mind. This is on the tape I read a couple of days ago. Are you getting a feel for this? Huh? Obviously, perceptual mind, which is what choice is what death is. You see? Why? Reality couldn't choose.
Right.
So if you make the whole Course in Miracles is never choose. Now, obviously, a perceptual mind covers that up because its reality is based on studying A Course in Miracles in relationship to what it thinks it is. Isn't this so? No. The way a perceptual mind covers that is it stays in time by saying the Course teaches me to choose again. A whole mind, a transformed mind, knows that it only chooses once. You see? If it can choose at all. Now, the necessity for choose again is a simple indication that the consciousness is continuing to choose. Obviously, there is no choice in this matter. Okay.
All right. So that was an introduction. So just up to the moment that Master Teacher starts to read from this chapter. Now we're going to read from that chapter 2, not today, but it keeps coming back. So it is like it's too interesting because it's literally where the healing happens. You release the fear for healing. That's in fact, if you release the fear for healing, you're healed. It's as simple as that. So apparently there's something that you hold on to temporarily, but you don't know how to get rid of it because you are that. You define yourself as that. Within your own definitions, that takes place exactly there. Now, I'm not going to say theoretically dissect it or anything. That doesn't make sense. So we heard a couple of things, and I want to take a look at some of it, because you might not follow it right away, immediately, what Master Teacher is actually trying to convey. But it is great to use. That's why I bring it up, of course. But it's great to use it because it saves so much time, in the sense of you're not confused about this. At a certain point, you're not confused about what is actually healing and what is helpful and what isn't. See, the recognition that you are as God created you, that you have that like with you in the sense, like that's really, really something else. So there's no process to that in that sense. That is literally, I just allow that to be so. Now this today we use this like very much in a very direct way, and that is the possibility of instantaneous healing, in fact, because looking at this from quantum physics perspective, you could say it is like there's no past. Like there's no way, for instance, in science that you can that you can actually tell how old light is. Like there's nothing about it that you can check in the sense of how old it is. So it's always right here. When it is detected, it is right there. It is not anywhere else. So this is just like a little bit of gymnastics for your letting go of trying to understand it, for one thing, but also letting go of what you think you are. Because since you are not what you think yourself to be, what we learn now in the Course in Miracles, like, no, it's not what you're not who you think you are. No, this world is not what you think it is. No, this body is not what you think it is. No, and you do a very specific thing with your body, and this is why I want to use it. So what is the thing that you do with your body? You place it in the context in which you see yourself. So that means like, I'm a 60-year-old, or I'm a 20-year-old, I'm a 25-year-old. I was born over there, and I'm, well, the continuity of the timeline is what I'm talking about. It's like that is part of you in how you experience and how you deal with your body. You really think that you're that and that age, and you really think you have to act that way too. Like your body is now this old, so it should look like this, or it should act like that, or who knows what. Instead of not having any definitions about it, but letting it be what it is in the moment. So in other words, if there's a recognition of an holy instant, a moment of healing, a moment of coming home in yourself, a moment of deep relaxation in which you start to come into an holy instant, experience a miracle, in other words. What happens in that moment is that you literally shift out of your body construct that you have made in your mind. You have made a construct of yourself being a 60 or 20 or 30-year-old body. In fact, you're taken out of that. In that same moment, you have allowed this body to just reconfigure the way it is, and not the way you dictate it to be. So this has an incredible healing power in that sense, because literally it's just aligning with the present moment, which is the most natural thing for it to do. You don't have to do that. No, what you have done with it is keeping it in a construct that you call yourself, in a world, in a setup, in a setting, in a location, in an all the definition parts of it, you have kept it there instead of releasing it and allowing it to be present and be whole in this instant. And so that's great. So this is the thing that the Master Teacher shared this too, is like, I want to go to God. I want to experience God. I want to have a deep experience of God. And it's like, okay, that's given. That is realized the moment that you say it, it is given you. So it's like you are that already. Now, it seems like your experience is, say, lingering a bit behind that. You're not in the direct experience of it yet. So but this is what the miracle is, that would literally collapse the time in which you still think that it might happen someday, up to the moment that it actually is already happening. And this is all that, in fact, healing is, and this is all that we say offer here. A moment in which you not describe anything, but letting everything be whole. Just like I said with the ones that I just met, and they literally took me home. Just because I was literally taken home by innocence. Now that is great, you know, that's lovely. But here, the same with your body. It's like you bring that in, you bring your situation, you release your situation like we're going to do in a moment in this healing circle. You release your idea. You hear your idea, you handed it over. Why did you hand it over? Not to have a better future, by the way. You're not with the intention that it might turn better. Not with any intention, in fact. No, just to release it. To let it, in fact, we say, like, let it be used in a way that is actually helpful for you. What is helpful for you to remember home? Yourselves, remembering home. Letting your body be whole. Not by your doing. It's going to happen automatically. Just because you allow no definitions of yourself to intrude upon it. That's all. So that's why Master Teacher said, like, sickness is what self-identification is what sickness is what death is. Because what are you doing? You're basing your reality on past ideas. I'm this old. I was born in 1825. I'm 250 years old. You base your identity on your ideas. Now, for that moment, you let it go. Like, literally, you base your identity on something that isn't there. Keeping your mind active with it, but actually not thinking at all. You don't think. When you keep yourself busy with something that is not there, that is not thinking. That's hallucinating, really. This is literally what it is. So it's like this whole idea of humanhood is what hallucination is. And you never saw it like that because you thought you had to do it that way too. Now here's in fact an incredible alignment going on. You can't believe it up to the moment that it actually happens in a miraculous way. Suddenly something is giving you a glimpse of your wholeness, just out of the blue it looks like. But it makes perfect sense. It makes so much more sense than what you have been doing. And now you say, like, yes, I believe you. I wish I could experience that too. And I say the same. It's like I say, it is happening now. It is happening now. So here's the collapse of cause and effect, in fact. Letting that be whole, letting that come together. Your I want to experience that was instantaneously confirmed, and it was given you. If you think it takes time, then it takes time. And this is like a huge step, I know, but it is necessary. to come into the direct experience of everything, literally to be present here now. So that's the invitation to the healing circle that we're going to do in a moment. I want to share some of the expressions that Master Teacher shared with us. I am as God created me. These are just some expressions that Master Teacher shared. The solution is not in the definitions of ourselves. We try to look for it, even though it's all past. We try to look for it, but we cannot find it, and it will not work. We came that far that we saw it did not work. And I am as God created me, so that can and will, and you must be that. You will be that. You can be that because that is what you are. It does not, like, it's not something to achieve. It's not something that's gonna happen one day. No, that must already be so, since I am as God created me. That's not happening yesterday. It is happening right now. Sickness is self-identity. Perceptual identity is what sickness is, because literally, what are you seeing? You see only the past. I'm seeing only the past. In lesson 7 of the course, I am seeing only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. That's the only thing that I'm, repeating to myself. Literally, I'm representing memory. The way you see yourself is only memory. A memory that you have about yourself. Where are you with all your ideas? All your ideas are already gone. Now where are you? The universe is mind. The universe thinks. The mind thinks. The mind you bring into this is not thinking at all. All associations you can have are already gone, since they are based on the past. So it's not wrong or right or good or bad. It simply isn't real. And this is just a logic, like it's reasonable what is being shared here. Now here's a bit of that what I tried to share a moment ago. It's like, how can we utilize the miracle to bring about wholeness that we are as God created us? Well, don't enter into previous body associations you have brought with you. Like, don't bring in old memories around old ideas, old associations, old ideas that you bring about yourself in relation to your body. Those ideas are gone. They never happened. They don't exist. They don't have life to them. They are dead. They are gone. They're over. God creating is all around us, is whole every moment. All intentions are to death, intending to go to God. And even that is like intending to go to God. That is still an intention to death, even though it seems like you want something, you want to go to God. So you are there, God is here. So yeah, the whole message is, none of this is so, including this message. Like, it's not depending on the words that I share, it's not depending on the healing circle that we do in that sense. None of this is so. It can be a temporary learning device, but it still is not so. Okay, so here's one more thing, and then studying A Course in Miracles in a relationship with what you think you are. And that's an interesting one that I like to stay with for just a second. It's like you do A Course in Miracles, you do your spiritual path, whether that's A Course in Miracles or it is the Infinite Way or it is Zen Buddhism. It is still the same idea. And like the whole thing is, it isn't applicable to your own definitions of yourself, like it doesn't fit in the construct that you have made. No, it's to literally let yourself be guided out of it. That's why we say none of this is so. Like, no, none of this is so. There's no technique to do this. Now, why am I doing the lessons of A Course in Miracles? Basically, to remember that. To come to a real experience of yourself, to catch glimpses of that first, to come into a holy instant, to experience the miracle, to experience that everything is literally bringing you home. Whether that's a person, whether that's a thing, whether that's anything, like a word or who knows what. Like everything is bringing you home until you fully realize that you're home in heaven without an opposite. Literally like this. Like that is what is happening. Now that's up to you how long that's going to take. So it is like nothing is forced, nothing that you have to do. There's no pressure on you. No, there's just this lovely, gentle invitation. Like, are you willing to hand over that what hurt you? Are you willing to release this forever? Just not hurting yourself with it anymore? Like, hand over your toys that you have been using against yourself. First they looked like toys, but basically it was nothing. And you occupied so much time with it, really thinking that there was something happening there. And it's not. Now, you see what's happening, huh? So that's really lovely. That's really lovely. It's like to admit to this is really what this is about. Like, you have to admit, you come to the point where you will admit this, where you suddenly are taken over by the alternative, literally, that you recognize, I'm not a body, I'm free. Oh my God, I can't believe this. And in that moment you literally experience your homecoming. Like, you actually hear what it says. That's amazing. Okay, so we're going to get started with the healing circle. And first, before that, I want to read our thought of the day today. Yeah, there it is. And that's this. It's like the body cannot create. The body cannot create, and the belief that it can, a fundamental error responsible for most of the fallacies already referred to, produces all physical symptoms. The body cannot create, like it cannot do anything by itself. The belief that it can, a fundamental error responsible for most of the fallacies already referred to, produces all physical symptoms. Now, okay, so we're heading over to our healing circle, and you send in your deepest frustration, and that's great that you shared that with me. And so what happens now is, in fact, that we bring all that to light. And because miracles are seen in light, in darkness you cannot see a miracle, of course not. So that means it cannot be seen in the past. Darkness is what the past is. Huh? Well, that's what is over, that's what is already dead, and that's what never's gonna become alive. It's past, it's gone, it's over. So this, it's not so much as to say this with force or anything. It's more like, yeah, it makes sense, right? It makes sense that the past is over, that it's gone, that it can still occupy your mind because you give it value, so that's why it's there. Huh? That is also reasonable. Now, the thing that we're going to share, or the format that we're using, is this. It's like there's a piece of music that I made for it, and that is this. It sounds like this. that's recognizable. That's easy. So we're using that. Now I got my whiteboard ready to go. And this whiteboard has all kinds of statements. And I might add some extra to them. But what I want to do is this, is like, see this as a meditation. It's like, this is a healing meditation. That's what we do. So be still and relax and enjoy, let yourself be taken by whatever is occurring. Allow this moment to be whole unto itself. And even in the inclusion of the expressions, when I invite you to read one, just read it, or unmute your microphone, read it, but leave it with that. It's like, it only needs to be read. It's included. In other words, it's included not as a reality, but as an, hey, this is what's being brought to healing. This is what is literally being we shine this away with light. And this is how the healing can occur, just letting that idea go, not holding on to it, not refabricating it, not. So we have some expressions, then there will be some music, and continuously we stay in this meditative state. And this is not like a magical healing circle. It's more like, no, this is a joining. We enter into a circle of light, because in fact that is what we always do. So when I say always do, is like, this is how we know each other and how we can be present. Now, you cannot really read this well. You see the words under this, you cannot really read it well, a little bit. I did this on purpose. So every time that I want you to read something, like we're going to start with this one, for instance, I'm giving it a different color. All right, thank you so much for your part in this, for sharing this. That's really great. So now bringing this in this light circle is in fact what we already did. So when it's gone, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's taken care of. It was an idea you walked around with, and now you shared it and you gave it away. There's no need to pick it up again. There's no need to see yourself that way anymore. So thank you so much for being present here today. Totally appreciate that. And I am as God created me. Thank you for everything, and I hope to see you in the next possibility. Like tomorrow, there's an early meeting which we meditate, like we have a Zen meditation coming up, and it's great. Just only to stay with, yes, release everything. Let this moment be new and total. Let my body be new and total. Remember us that we're not doing anything. We are just allowing things to be as they are. That's all. I am as God created me. I am whole in my experience of myself. Let everything take you home. That's the invitation. So thank you so much for that. And I see you soon. Thank you so much.